Hi, everyone. Welcome to Soulmates and Suitcases. This is episode 17, and my name is Lisa Brierley, along with my husband, Scott Brierley. We are the hosts, and we have a special guest here today. We'd like to welcome Phil Kobald. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you very
Hey,
much for having
Phil.
me.
Yeah,
Thank-
welcome. Now, often, when we have our guests on here, Phil, it's like, oh, a coach and author, and it's kind of a quick sort of intro. I literally have a whole page for you, Phil, and I just want to kind of go through a few things in regards to what we're going to hopefully focus on and go through in terms of your life. So, first of all, Phil is an author, and he's also a meditation expert, which I'm excited to talk about that. Spiritual chaperone, which is very intriguing. A trainer, helps train people in regards to speaking for podcasts. He enjoys making candles and vinegar, and we've got to explore what all that's about. He has several university degrees, and he was a professional photographer for 15 years. So where do we start, Phil?
It's your show. I'm so happy. I'm also a fellow podcaster, and I'm super happy that you have to call the shots. So wherever you take me, I'll go.
Oh my goodness,
Well,
yeah.
we we usually like the person to tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspires you and what inspired you to start a podcast or even inspired you to make candles.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm one of these guys who never know why they do things. I just wake up in the morning and I never watched a single podcast in my life. I never listened to a single podcast in my life. I just woke up one morning and told my wife, hey, I'm going to make a podcast. And she's like, okay. She's used to suffering. I start around two, three companies a year, and not only fun little project that you mentioned, I actually have real world companies with branches all over Europe, a lot of employees. So I do also quite big stuff, but I do also small stuff as well. So that's a bit strange. Usually people, they're either serious business people or they are just doing weird little things but I just like to do it all. And wherever my passion takes me, and you never know. I mean, sometimes with candles you can make rather big money as well, so it's doesn't have to be discarded as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Now, one of the things that really caught me about you was your book that you have out called
Thank you.
Spiritual Parenting. I'm assuming you are a parent.
Yeah, that helps.
It helps. However, you could have done the research. But
Yeah.
the kind of the sub sort of understanding to that book is raising children who stay real in an artificial age. So this age of technology, and I know myself, my son at the age of 2 was playing Pajama Sam with his both hands, and like it was just that era of technology is the thing to do. And from that early age of like 2000 or so, kids growing up, they have been living in this world of, oh my goodness, like what is going on? Even us parents are kind of like, is technology the way to go? So where did this book come from, Phil? What inspired you to kind of start writing it?
Right. Well, as you mentioned kindly, beside me being an entrepreneur, I'm more than 30 years a meditation teacher. I had many meditation centers and many groups in different countries. I lived in a lot of different countries. So basically, there's always a part of me is teaching meditation, and other part of me is doing business. So spirituality is very important to me. And looking at my daughter growing up, being 12 years old, and quite naturally, I was asking myself, what could I do? Is there anything I can do to help her? Because I love spirituality and I want her to have spirituality in her life. So I was wondered if there's anything I can do as a parent to maybe help this along. And this quest, these thoughts, these ideas, that's how the book came along. I want to be very clear. It's not a parenting advice book. It's a real book about specifically spirituality and what one could do or should do or look at from my perspective to help kids to be open to that.
And are you looking at as I'll say top down, so it's parents are working on their spirituality in regards to modeling it for their children?
Right, exactly. So it's a book not only for parents, it's for grandparents, teachers, nannies, whoever's interested. And you have the first half of the book that looks at the reader, the person, let's say the parent. It's like a big mirror to see what's going on with your life, what you're doing. And it goes through all the basic life balance, energy, kids copy us, what are the role models we are. So that goes through this whole idea to just look at ourselves. And the second half of the book is a hands-on advice, especially looking at AI and all of these new technologies that we have to give real to our children if we want them to understand and experience real. And there are some practical ideas, little stories, how that can be brought into everyday life.
I love that. The infusion of kind of being grounded or finding your grounding time. And so, like, I mean, when I talked about, 2000, so 26 years of children, I'll say, and we see this a lot, being babysat by technology. So how to start to shift? Like, what does that look like possibly?
Well, I think first of all, whoever's right now with a child that is, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 14 or 17, I think they know exactly what I'm talking about, that this is just not normal. We are living in a very extreme environment that's never been like this. I mean, I've grown up with the television and people were worried, oh, you're watching too long television. But, it was 2 hours a day, maybe hour and a half, or, at my time. And the next generation maybe had 3 hours of television and, next generation four. But this now is completely different. Those children are glued to the phone. And when I drew the line, when I said, okay, this is it, is a couple of months back, we had a wonderful first snow and we're living close to a central park. And you look out of the window of my apartment and it's snowing and all the trees are fully covered. And I ran to the room of my daughter and say, it's snowing, let's take some friends, let's go outside. And she said, leave the room. I said, what's going on? We are having a snowball fight. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're on
Yeah.
the phone in a virtual environment. So all her friends from the class came together, had a virtual snowball fight because it's snowing outside. And this is when, I'm a spiritual guy, I'm a meditation guy, I'm all about real, all about emotions. And this is like when your fingers ain't cold, when, that's not it.
Yep. I experienced the exact same thing. My son, who was a teenager at the time, I had said to him, I said, well, why don't you go out and play with your friends? And he looks at me quite seriously, says, I am playing with my friends. They're all online. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And so what's sort of that, something that will excite kids, I suppose, and parents to get off the technology and look maybe towards the getting out to nature, looking more at the spiritual side of things?
You're right, and you're saying all the right things because what I figure out is, first of all, I'm not against technology, I'm not against
No.
AI. I actually have AI companies right now, so
Yeah.
I shouldn't say anything about it because I make money. But so I'm not against technology at all, but I understand there has to be balance. I am pretty much obsessed with balance. My whole spiritual teaching is about individual balance. So if one thing is just getting too strong and too extreme, obviously we parents have to take a stronger focus and emphasis of putting the other thing up as well. So yes, it takes effort, it takes time, maybe money, but I also give a lot of advice how to do things without spending money. Going a weekend camping costs money, but there are a lot of possibilities. So we have to just bring the real and give a bigger focus on it so that there is balance. We have to make sure that they can play with their friends, that they can go out and experience the real. So yes, again, it takes effort from our side, but this is the only way right now. And by the way, I've said that and saying it all the time. I'm super positive that we will manage to handle it. This is the first generation. It just comes like a shock. So it comes a shock to us parents, it comes a shock to the kids, to the schools, to everyone. And now I think in the US it's official that some of these things are actually addictive. So there will be legislation coming. We will catch up because once it's officially addictive, like nicotine or alcohol, they will have to regulate it. I mean, there's no way around it if they want or don't want. I mean, it's official addiction. Well, they can't let it run, right? So I'm sure that in 10, 5, 6 years from now, we will have legislation, we have rules, we will have much better understanding, and the next generation will deal with this entirely different. It's just we are bad luck that we're the guinea pig generation. And so we have to step up, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, we do have to step
Yeah.
up, that's for sure. I know as a teacher, I struggled with that as well in regards to technology in the classroom. And I don't know if you touch on that in your book at all. I know in regards to, no, because I remember as a kindergarten teacher, the infusion of technology in kindergarten. And I told the principal, I said, I am not having a single computer and a child on a single computer. I said, if I have a computer, two children will at least play on the computer at the same time. So there's actually a chance to communicate. Or if there are kids singly playing at a computer, then to have two computers by themselves, so at least they talk to each other. And so it's this, yeah, it's sort of, like you said, it's we're the guinea pigs right now. There's a lot of that feeling going on, and what is it really doing?
I find it
Go
really
ahead, you.
I find it really baffling the fact that we're living in a world where actually a lot of people are struggling and poor and
Yeah.
not eating correctly, but everybody's got a phone. And they're like, all phones are about $1,000 now, and it's like, how do people afford this? Like, it baffles me because they're putting technology before health food and healthy stuff, and when we do that, we erode society as it in a whole, not just a little bit. Everybody gets affected.
By the way, food is one of the major elements in that book, especially when it comes to children. But let me get back to you. I don't talk about schools specifically, but I can tell you a story from the real world. Right now, our school where my daughter is right now, she's 12, officially gave up. Another joke. They now officially declared that they gave up. They can't handle it any longer. And the kids now, because it's just what it means in practice is for the last couple of tests, we have end of the year coming up, and the kids having the phones on the desk during the exams and asking ChatGPT for the answers. And the teachers officially say, we don't give a damn, we can't handle it. Deal with your own kids, we can't anymore. So
Yeah,
that's
it's a struggle. It's a struggle for teachers, that's for sure. Having to manage this, no cell phones in the school, no cell phones at recess, and be the police. It's very challenging.
However,
in
though, should it be the teacher's job?
Well,
Like,
that's
is
the
that not the
thing, right?
parent's role?
In our case, we have a school board of parents who, and we have a principal. And the school board, the school board of parents wanted to get rid of the phones in school. The school itself, the teachers wanted to get rid of the phones in school, but we have a small group of very loud, well-organized parents who are mainly lawyers who fought until the death, including media, to let their kids have their phones and be available at all times.
Yeah,
They want to be able to call their
thing.
kids at all time and all hours, and they were radically against the school and the general majority of parents who wanted to actually don't have phones during school, during classes and stuff like that. So it is super crazy right now out there, and no one has an answer. And that's what I'm saying. We're the guinea pig generation. Everything will calm down. Everything will work out fine. But right now, it is a bit of a challenge. And all we can do is to step up and give possibilities, give opportunities to the children, and also check ourselves. I mean, so many. I see every day my surrounding fathers, mothers with phones in their hands, shouting at their children, go out and play, stop playing online, stop using screen time, and they have the phone in their hand. And I'm thinking, well, I'm old enough to remember the days when I had a general practitioner with a cigarette in their mouth telling me to live a healthy life. I'm old
Yeah.
enough to remember the time and thinking, oh, okay, I'm sure you're right, but I know this is not good marketing.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, it's about model. Well, it's about learning and finding your own self and learning more about going inward, right? And seeing what you're capable of, what you're worthy of. And I know I wrote about that in my third book as well. I'm like, the parents need to be able to see, adults need to be able to see their own worth so they can then model it for their own children and step up. And we've come to definitely to this age of more self-awareness. I hope it's just not me seeing it. There actually is more of a wave. Are you experiencing that in your own business?
I'm not sure if I understand this so well that I can respond. I look a lot of honesty and especially emotional honesty, age appropriate, of course. And if that's what you mean, then I'm with you that I think that it's okay if you're tired after a day's work to come home and say, "Hey, honey, I'm tired now. I need a moment. I need half an hour to relax, and then we can do something." I'm very strong about that parents should do or engage and work with children that they actually enjoy themselves. And we not my house, we're quite split. My wife really can't stand board games or card games. She just don't like to. And she's open about it. Just leave me alone with that stuff. I enjoy it. I play every evening if I can a little game with my daughter. I love it. That makes happy. And there are other things that I can't stand that my wife likes. So we are trying to be honest with it and to tell our daughter what we like and what we don't like. And I think it's better when we enjoy ourselves. The whole thing comes more natural and it's not like something you have to do. Of course, there are some chores we have to do and there's no way around, and that's also okay. And I love to cook. I'm the cook in the house, and of course, I always invite her. And that's also important, I guess, that you invite kids over and over again. And if they say, "Oh, I don't want to," that's okay. But keep inviting, keep engaging, and sometimes they come and just make one cut and they move away. All right, okay. And sometimes they stay, and sometimes but one thing is for sure, they know that's what I like. They know that they're invited to be part of something I like. They're welcome, and it builds for me the looking at AI again or looking at smartphones again. For me, right now, one of another key elements for parents is to be really sure that you are the trust and go-to person at all times. It's more important than ever before that you've built the groundwork right from the start, that my daughter knows if she does something wrong or illegal, I'm going to shout as hell, but I'm on her side. I have her back. And I can tell you this with all certainty that she knows that I'm her first and last line of defense no matter what. Even if I complain, even if she gets an earful, but she knows that I'm on her side. And this maybe was not so important in my generation. I mean, what could we have done so crazy bad? Maybe somebody smoking in the backyard or, dirty magazine. And that's the maximum that my generation could have come up with. Times are different now. And, God knows what they're sending each other. God knows what they're going into. And it's a lifelong damage. Having a cigarette in the backyard, I mean, it comes and goes, but this stuff in the internet, it stays forever. It gets, it's just, for me, it's really important as the parent right now that you build a strong foundation that your parents didn't need to, your grandparents didn't need to necessarily. But right now, it's to me super important that my daughter can come to me for anything and feel safe to do so.
Yeah, and a reminder to parents that, every moment is a new moment, and every moment gives you an opportunity to start fresh. Because a lot of people, I'm certain a lot of parents they have that level of, oh my gosh, I did something wrong, or I did this bad, or I blah 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 blah. The list is long, but to remind yourself that you can take this moment to start fresh and to, like you said, to be open about what your interests are, or what you like to do and how you like to show up, and to go have fun. I think that's something a lot of us adults have forgotten about, how to go have fun and play.
Yeah,
And it sounds like you
it's
do
just,
that.
I hope so. But it's hard. We're all tired. We all do a lot, and it not always comes easy. But for me, I mean, it's important to be social. We're having guests regularly over because I think it's an important part of my child's education to be a host and to go somewhere. And it's a bother, and I can see it more and more in my surrounding people coming to us and say, I haven't been invited anywhere for months. They're always like surprised that somebody invites them over for a dinner and takes the effort and makes a nice table and prepares stuff. But for me, I really want to, as much as I can, give these social skills to my child. But that's one solution, not all the solutions. Experiencing nature, I'm really crazy about. If there's any possibility to go a couple of times a year to local farmers and buy food there and show children where it's made, where it comes from, that's another thing where I'm really feel strong about it. We as a society, if we lose the respect for farmers, something fundamentally goes wrong, I believe, because, it's to me a very important element. So there's a lot of these things that goes out the book, but generally you're right. I'm trying to intensify the moment because this is a book about spirituality, not parenting. So that's get always the
Yeah.
confusion. So for me, spirituality translates into openness or the search,
Yeah.
asking the big questions in life, where I'm coming from, where I'm going. But to start this journey, you have to be curious and you have to have a space for curiosity and you have to learn to nourish this curiosity. So this is basically some of the ideas that I have to intensify the moments to open up this box.
Amazing. I love that, the way you approach that, because to me that's only something I've learned personally in the last, I don't know, few years really, about the idea of being open. And when you're open, more great things come your way and more great opportunities, and meet more amazing people and have all these great experiences. And one of the areas that you talked about in regards to your business, and I want to see if this sort of translates to even you, how you show up for your own kids. That your business, you've had wins, break-evens, and failures. Is this
For
something
sure.
that you feel like in regards to the spiritual world and, kind of getting back to nature and getting, understanding the social skills, are those three areas something that you look at and kind of express in regards to that in your kids?
I'm not sure that I fully understand the question, I must be honest. But yes, as a businessman, when you're a startup guy, I'm a startup guy, of course, you will have failures, success, and you just break even. That's what it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just learn over time to hedge it a little bit better. That's in terms of business strategies. You
Yeah.
just learn to be more careful. Don't just put all the money in one horse. And this is just business strategies. They have for me, I don't see the spiritual connection, but maybe I misunderstood the question.
I
But
think
yeah,
I
go.
think just in terms of resilience for your daughter. Some things we win at, some things we fail at, and we get to learn a lesson, or because you open to opportunities, right? And experiences and testing things out and that sort of thing.
I think it's a very much. I'm European, even if I only podcast in the US. But there are some cultural differences. I know that in the US, I think it's a big thing whether first winner, first loser, or runner up, or there's like a lot going on there, right? Where people don't want to be stigmatized that they lose and they think it's unhealthy. I'm not sure that this is a European perspective. I'm not particularly sure that this works for us. That idea that everybody is a winner, even if you show up. I'm not sure that and especially, I'm a businessman for many years, and if I show up, my bank don't give a damn. If I show up, you know,
Yeah.
I need to pay the bills and I need to pay the salaries. And my workers, I can tell you, my workers don't give a damn if they show up or not. They want their paycheck at the end of the month. And if I do well or if I do really lousy, they want their paycheck. So maybe I'm a very bad person to talk to about, first winners showing up because success is important and achievement is important. It's extremely important. So I'm not the fluff person, but it doesn't mean that I'm telling my daughter every single day, is when it comes to school or marks or whatever, if your maximum is a B, you better deliver a B. And if your maximum is that, I just want her to reach her fullest potential. And I will never shout at her if it's not an A or if it's this or that. I just want to be absolutely certain that she gave the best she possibly could and she reaches her potential to the fullest. That's all that I expect from her. And if that's what she can give me, I'm satisfied with the result. So that's a difficult line to walk because I know you always have to, try to want more. But I'm clearly not a fluff daddy. I expect I expect that she is giving her best at all times.
Well, that's kind of like we got a saying: winners never quit and quitters never win. Because if you keep
And
quitting, you can't win, and if you keep going, even if you lose a little bit, but you keep going, you're still a winner. And not saying the quitters aren't a winner. However, it's they choose their wins, and you
yeah,
get to choose your own wins.
exactly. And I think I know it's a philosophy thing. Obviously, an old white guy trying to educate a young girl. So, maybe I shouldn't do it in the first place, but, nature made a decision. But, like sport, she's really talented for sport, but she's unfortunately easygoing person, which, you can think about it. I mean, she's bloody talented and she can get the silver medal anytime she shows up. She doesn't go to training regularly. She's going there half prepared. She's coming in with the cocoa in the hand. Everybody's warming up. Everybody's buzzing around. It's a national competition we're talking here about. And she clearly doesn't give a damn. She goes there, tuck, 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 gets a silver medal. And everybody's going crazy. I mean, just a microscopic effort, and you just beat the whole damn game. And she's like, "What do you want? I got the silver medal. I mean, is it not good enough for you?" And I said, "No, it's horrible. It's a disaster because, why are you showing up in the first place?" But then I have to smile because my wife is a workaholic. I am a clear mental case of workaholic, and we are overachievers like insane. So I guess God looked at us and said, "I'll give you easygoing hippie daughter and deal with it, my friend."
Yeah.
Things come pretty easy. That's awesome. You
Uh,
said you've experienced lots of failures in businesses, so and successes in business. So how has that helped you to show up even to who you are today and the father you are and the husband you are and
Just a brief pause in the show. If you'd like to dive deeper into our work, our books are available on Amazon. You can also get instant electronic copies at payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors. Now, back to the show.
I know everybody thinks that maybe I don't see the connection myself. I mean, maybe I don't have the perfect mirror. That's maybe for sure. But I don't dwell much on anything. That's maybe part of the problem. I'm not a big dweller. If it works, it works. It don't work, it don't work. And, try something else. And it's if you start getting this personally, if you start going into it, you're just going to lose your mind. Neither do I do big preparation. If I start a project, I don't really think it through, which is maybe a bad idea, but it worked out quite often. And if it don't fail, I'm like, what can you do? So I try not to think too deeply. It's my old teacher always told me, "You're too stupid to think." And I like, maybe he's right. Let's just do it and let's see what
do it?
happens.
Exactly. And that in itself shows and models to your daughter that experiences are experiences and that's all they are. And some things come easy. Like we'll talk about what are the things that you make. You make candles, vinegars as well, stuff like that. Maybe that all comes easy. That's like her going to play, is it tennis, you said? Like,
No, she is fencing.
oh, fencing. So yeah, I think it's a great mindset to have in life.
Thank you. I hope so. I mean, she's great on her own. She's a very strong character since day one. And I know people always ask me these questions, like something along these lines on the podcast, but you will have to meet her and you would realize there's very little I can do. She's a pretty strong personality since the day she's born. And I can tell you when the nurse came after the birth, just one of the early checkings, day 4 or 5 or whatever the nurse is coming, and she just touched our daughter. She had a shock in her hand because she never had such a strong muscles on any baby, and she never slept a day in her life. And you pushing her for 3 hours, singing any lullaby comes to mind, and after you slowly want to walk away, she's like, I'm here. Don't go. Everything's here. I'm here. And so she's quite an intensive little person, but we try to get along with it. We try to deal with it, and I mean, I'm a happy father, but it's intensive, and that's what it is, right?
Yeah, there's a saying here, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
We're trying to figure out who's guilty for 13 years now. We're trying to blame it on someone, some uncle, anybody in the family.
No, no guilt, no guilt, not at all, not at all. And so
We
how
had
did
some
you, oh, sorry, go ahead, Scott.
we had some friends that just stayed with us in Thailand, and they go, yeah, we got, I think they call him George, if I remember correctly. If there's something going on in the house, we just go, George did it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yep.
But it is what it is, and I was worried for a moment. I mean, we're all modern parents. We're all going through the same trauma, I guess. And you worry with a kid like mine, is it hyperactive? Is this going to unfold? Of course, we're all asking those questions. But we are lucky that she's just energetic, and that's a good thing. So this is all of those labels. I have a chapter in the book where we talk about labels, and they're just a growing epidemic. I'm sure if you're working in kindergarten, I don't know if you're still catching up, but today everybody has, like, I don't know, dyslexia, dysgraphia, this whatever. It's just insane right now, especially what's going on in our environment, that the parents are pushing for all of these labels, and it's an easy way out. I've seen this over and over with our friends, that if it's just too much for the parents to deal with, they desperately almost forcing the doctor to give a label, and then like, oh, nothing I can do. It's that kind of a thing, and nothing we can do about it. So it is a difficult and challenging time. I'm sure it's never been easy to be a parent. It's always hard in any state, but I think right now it's pretty much out there. I mean, not considering wartime and other major crises. I mean, people had to bring children through wars, so that's clearly fundamental problems compared to our problems. But we have, as you said, not everybody, but most of us, luckily, or many of us, have food on the table, have clothes to wear, have all of this luxury. So we are creating a lot of these problems on our own, and we need to learn to navigate this and to calm down and be grounded, so this doesn't run over us, these all of these cultural elements. And of course, as you said, if food is a problem, if basic things are a problem, that is a whole different ball game.
Well, I know from going to Thailand, we get a lot of the food there, like the flour comes from Italy. And from what I understand, the flour from Italy doesn't get contaminated like the flour here. Our flour is horrible. And there's so many people getting like lactose intolerant, gluten. And it's like, and then I hear people going to Thailand with this stuff, and they can eat bread in Thailand and don't get affected.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're putting so much garbage in our food that it's no longer food anymore. It's not even a substance. It's a filler. And then we wonder why there's so many labels. I'm a guy that bash labels. I was completely against labels, and over the last few years, some of the doctors I've seen, I've had a couple of labels put on me, and it's like, when I was properly diagnosed with ADHD and given the proper meds because I was properly diagnosed, my life leveled right out. And the problem is, here in Canada, you go in and you have a questionnaire about that long, and the doctor goes, oh, you got depression. and I got diagnosed with depression for decades, and it wasn't depression. I was misdiagnosed because I had ADHD. And once that was treated, once again, like my life leveled out and my brain stopped racing, and I was able to kind of process more stuff like how you talk about processing it, not making a big deal about much because it's not worth making a big deal because you wake up tomorrow and it's a different day.
But you see, that is exactly my problem because you needed a diagnose and you needed a label. And the problem is, if there are like 60 people who don't need a label in the first place, it's just a convenience. People like you actually have a problem. And that is why I'm worried. I'm not against labeling. And if you have a trauma, you have a trauma. If you have
Yeah.
dyslexia, you have dyslexia. But there is, for every person that gets diagnosed, there's like 100 people out there who shouldn't have this diagnosis in the first place because they don't have this problem for real. And that creates a problem for the others. So that's kind of like double unfair. You don't have a problem to start with, you're making it up, or you would like to have a problem, or you're looking for an easy way out instead of looking in the mirror and trying to change something. So you're hanging
Mm-hmm.
yourself a label and like, nothing I can do about it. Oh no, my mother was bad, so that's what it is. And in some cases, the mother was really bad and you really need help. But then who's going to take you serious? So I'm very sensitive about labels and I always question it very hard and strong. Is this really something that should hang around you and do you need the support, or it's just a lifestyle and the easy way out? So for me, this is quite a big issue.
It is a big issue.
That's Well, it's funny. I've spent my life going to 12-step programs, and like in one of the programs, you always label yourself and what the program is. And the last, I'm going to say 5 years or 4 years, I've decided in some of our literature in the one program, it just says you remember when you say you remember. So instead of saying, "Hi, I'm Scott and I am this," I always just say, "I'm Scott and I'm a grateful member." And it's funny how people look at you really weird because you're not fitting the norm. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't want to label myself today. Like, because that's not who I am. I'm Scott.
And I think this is something that takes a big part in the book in a certain way. I'm trying to be sneaky about it, but this labeling of children, I think, is ultra dangerous. And I can only warn every parent putting labels on kids. This is, first of all, they learn to solve a problem with a label. That's horrible to start with. And it creates so many ripple and side effects that it is super dangerous. Uh, I have a quick story if you want. I know how we're standing with time, or you want to move on, or
No, go ahead.
it's just a little story of my daughter a couple of years back. She had a group of girls, a couple of girl gang, and one girl clearly became a little bit unstable. She became a bully. She became rude. She has problems back home, and the parents were worried. But what you got to do, it's a group of friends, and you have to decide what to do. But ultimately, it just became too far, and my wife and I said we are not happy with the situation. So what you got to do, right? You don't want to. I don't want to go to my daughter and tell her, listen, she's bullying you. You're a victim. I didn't want to do that, so I had to figure this through. And so I started very sneaky, random conversation in the car, walking, supermarket, stuff like, uh, what you think a good friend should be, or what would you bring as a friend, or what you expect to give and receive. I never mentioned that girl. So we never mentioned that girl's name, of course, but I just kept on asking these questions and I just waited, see what's going to happen. And I think after 10, 15 days, she came to me and said, you know, this is not good for me. I've decided to leave the group. Of course, this was a big thing. But I said, okay, if that's what you think, and why did you do it? And like, being curious, why? What's happening? Is like, they're not nice to me. I don't feel it. Oh, okay, okay, absolutely. And I was super proud about her coming to this decision. Then, of course, the next couple of days were hell because she was alone. It was a complete disaster. And I was questioning, what have we done? What did, she's alone in the backyard, the whole world comes to an end. But of course, a week later, she found some new friends and she moved on. And a couple of days later, she came to me and said, you know what? I made a decision. I want to be friends with every group. I said, wow, how cool is that? So you see, this is about victimization. I could have been protective parents. I could have went to the teacher. I could have went to the school and said that kid is a bully. That kid is clearly doing something not right. And I know it's because of her family problem, and we all know that she's problematic.
Yeah.
And I could have done all of this, and it would be maybe correct. But I did not want my child to have a label. I wanted her to figure it out, stand up for herself, and create a space. So that's just some of the examples I'm trying to give in the book, how we can help and avoid the label.
Yeah, because it's a long-term goal. These short little things help for the rest of their life. That's the big thing. It's the same with, I see it a lot as a teacher. Kids, of age 5, 6, 7, or whatever, come to school and they don't know how to tie shoes. And I've literally seen kids put out their foot to an adult to tie their shoe. And so if we can take the time to teach them, show them, let them try, let them fail, let them succeed, all that sort of stuff, instead of just solving, like you talked about the bully, you could have went and just solved your daughter's problem, more or less, or ran away, which a lot of people do that. Scott calls it geographical cure, go to a different school and that sort of thing. Yeah, so there's options, and it's a long-term goal. That's for sure. That's how I look at it anyway. I just want to, because we're starting to wrap up a little bit, I do want to go.
Sure.
You've been working on meditation for 30 years. How, why, where did this come up for you in regards to this, the importance on doing that?
My meditation story is a long story. Logically, it started super young, and I had my own first center with 18 years actually, and I already was a meditation teacher, and so I started pretty young. Maybe it's a hippie background, what do I know? But I was obviously interested and open into meditation from a very young age, and I've developed it ever since. My personal story, maybe I suffered from migraine as a kid. It was quite severe, and it was pretty much affecting my life because I had to take a lot of medication, and people didn't understand the disease so well at that time. I mean, I'm 53 years old, so this was back when there was not so much knowledge about the problem, and all you could take is medication, and it was not working for me anymore. I didn't want to continue my life taking that kind of amount of medication. So basically, I don't know how I came up with the idea, but I decided that maybe meditation be a solution to the problem. And I really learned to meditate with the pain, and it was a long process. It took several years, but ultimately I found a way to go into the pain and to release the pain from within. And I never again in my life had migraine. So this is a specific setting, right? I know migraine is very complex, and some people have eye issues, some people have disbalances. So it's not a one solution fix everything kind of approach. But for me, it worked, and I realized the power of meditation in a very young age. And so I progressed from there, and I taught many people, and it's been part of my life ever since.
And do you do or teach it to your daughter?
No, oh no, no. I think that no. If she will ever come to me and ask me, of course, no, 100%. But this is not a thing with spirituality. I want to create the groundwork. I want to create the curiosity. I want to create the openness. I want to open the world to her, the farms, the forests, whatever, culture, art, whatever I can. I try to be honest. I try to be somebody she can bounce back to. But I am not the person that will take her hand and bring her to yoga, or take her hand and bring her to meditation. I think this will be age appropriate. It's not a problem to meditate for kids, I understand, but I think it should come natural, should develop from within, and she has a long life to live, and she can start meditation with 20 or 23 or whenever she's ready. So it's the spiritual practices and the need for spirituality. I see this a bit different, or trying to analyze it more, take it apart. What is a practice and what is a deeper inner need or deeper calling, if you see my point. And I care a lot about developing that inner calling and inner need, and then ultimately it will lead to actions, and they have to come from her.
Makes sense. Yeah, I understand that concept.
And
Final pause. If you've got a message on your heart and want to be our guest, don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Visit forwardwalkingchoices.com, scroll to the Soulmates and Suitcases podcast section, and click Apply Here. Now back to the show.
and by the way, I'm sorry for every single person on earth who's meditating. It's the bloody worst idea you can have in a lifetime is to meditate. I mean, go take ayahuasca, have fun. Why on earth? You're sitting 30 years trying to find emptiness. I mean, why would anybody be so crazy? So it's always starting my new groups, begging people to don't come and just leave the room. Just don't do it to yourself. It's such a hard way to go. And people think, oh, it's like guided meditation, I'm gonna relax. Dear Lord, it's not relaxing at all. Guided meditation is not meditation, it's real serious, direct, focused, real meditation is a hard hobby. It's hard to learn, it's hard to develop. Nothing happens in the first 20 or 25 years or so, absolutely nothing. And that's why monks living up there in the Tibetan mountain, and they take them a lifetime to learn. It's just not nice, it's not fun, it's hard, and it's a commitment. And so I'm not the biggest fan of meditation.
It has taught you something, right? It's
A
taught you a
lot,
lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard. It doesn't come easy. It's like learning a classic instrument. I mean, learning piano or classic guitar. It needs years. These people practice 6, 7 hours a day. Those classic pianists. It's People are not anymore. Everybody wants a weekend seminar. Everybody wants a workshop. Everything has to come quick. Everything has to come easy, and doing it the hard way is just highly unpopular right now.
Good point. Good point. Do you have your book there, Phil, to show us? Do you have a copy to show us?
I know I don't have a copy with me, but I'm sure you will post a link. And it's my beautiful face on the cover, so people really don't buy it. I put my face in the center, so it's like, don't buy this book. Look at the guy, what he has to say. But apparently it works, so maybe. But I'm sorry, I should have a cover. You're right.
That's okay, quite okay. Now, before we let you go, you are a creator of things. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're creating and what's coming up for you, maybe in terms of business or creating?
Well, it's coming up in business. I'm looking more and more into AI because I'm entrepreneur now. It's 32 years now, and I usually have a lot of employees and companies and branches and everything. And it's getting more and more difficult with workforce and also the taxation in Europe, and you don't know all of that, and legislation and regulation and all of it, red tape. So Europe is a bit crazy when it comes to these things, and it's just not fun anymore being a business person in the real world. So I'm trying to move away from it. I still have my main business in the real world, but I'm slowly moving toward the artificial thing. But I love production. I'm a production guy, and I do like to produce things on bigger scale and on smaller scale, like candles. That's a small thing. But look, look at this. I had a pretty decent developed candle business. And yeah, I mean, okay, it's not a multi-million-dollar empire, but every Christmas I made some nice money. And then Europe changed the law, and all my business was gone one day to the other because they changed the regulation for chemical whatever. You don't want to go into it. So basically, I was quite angry because every Christmas, I made a couple of $1,000 just without much of an effort, and it's a nice Christmas bonus. And I have branches, so I just put the stuff inside, and people just take it and give me the money. It was zero effort, and yeah, the Europe just took it away from me, and other stuff. Vinegar is one of my hobbies, I just like to make vinegar. I always have a bit of a food production going on. I used to produce kimchi and God knows what. But again, legislation, because it's getting very complicated to get all the chemical testing, la la la. And for like a boutique producer, I produce super crazy high quality vinegar. It needs 3 years to develop in supernatural ways. So you don't make any money with it. It's basically I have to spend money to sell the product, because when you want to make it really really good, it's just you can't put a price on it. And again, when it's so hard and so complicated with legislation and testing and all of it, it just takes the fun out of it. And that's a specific European problem. That's European complaining on Europe. The rest of the world is still not there yet. But so that's another one. So basically, I'm trying to get my companies out of Europe. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to go get everything in the artificial world or online world and basically leave Europe as an entrepreneur. It's just not working. It just simply doesn't work. And it's sad. It's my home country. It's my homeland. But we are hurting, and you work for nothing, and that doesn't make sense.
So hence why many of us are doing different things in life to see testing those waters and living differently. So Phil, we're coming to the end of our show. I knew it would be packed with so many things. How can our audience find you? Where can they get a hold of you and your book as well?
Well, first of all, thank you for teaching me about Canada. I learned something today, and because it's not that I don't explain you where things are worse. We always hope there's somewhere else better.
Yeah,
I know.
You have to see. We're sitting here and we desperately hope that Canada is better than Europe. That's how we survive, imagining that there's a better place to run to. And you want to run to Thailand, and the Thailand want to run to Europe, and we're all running around in crazy circles, imagining there must be a better place out there. So it's a desperation that makes me look at
100%.
Canada as the Holy Land.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for asking me. So yeah, sure. My website is a great place to start, HolisticCircle.org. And I hope you will put the link so people can follow it up. And there's the way to the book and some services. And people want to reach out. I'm always happy to connect. And thank you. It was very lovely conversation, very live and active. I enjoyed it very much. I wish it lasts another hour. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I'll say from Thailand, Kapun Ka, that means thank you. Appreciate it very much. I guess you're going to say what, Scott?
Thank you very much. It's
There
been a
you go.
blast.
Since he's in Canada. Thanks, Phil. Take care.
Thanks, Phil.
All right. Before we sign off, we wanted to share a little after the show conversation that never made it into the episode.
Scott,
All right.
Scott is just waking up at 4:30 in the morning to do this. So
And you also have 4:30?
no, I am at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, I am 1:30. There you go.
Oh, 1:30. Okay, all right, perfect. All right, super. And
First time I'm having a free conversation from different time zones.
there you go. Oh, good stuff. Love it.
Thank you so very very much, and thank you for the interview.
You're welcome. All the best to you. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Want to get our books fast and at the best price? Get your electronic copy at https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors. Again, that's https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors.